And hello everybody, this is the first ever Ted's Friends Facebook video. This is a look back at when I worked with Dad, Grandpa, in the hardware store in Hartville. Also worked with him in Canton. But this is a brief retrospective having to do with the 2 yardsticks he gave to me that was saved after he sold the store years and years ago, now decades ago. And we've got them in our living room on display. And here's Dad along with Mom talking a little bit about the hardware days, how much they made, how much they paid for groceries every week. Got to listen carefully, and I'll help you out if you have trouble hearing them. Here it goes.
So we didn't have any money, and he says, well, we figured he had about $5,000 in his stock at that time. And see, you got to figure today, at that time, you got to have multiply by that by about 50. And so we decided we'd take a crack at it, and he gave us notes for $5,000.
Yeah, we will only barely do mine. And I was buzzing. It was wonderful.
She was willing to go along with it. She went along with everything. She was agreeable on everything.
That's wonderful.
So anyhow, we took a crack at it.
We lived on $6 a mile.
We lived on $6 a week for living in
$6 a week?
Yeah.
Are we talking groceries or are we talking?
Yeah, groceries.
We're talking everything. Oh, Hoppy Grilling.
Groceries, $6 groceries.
He still has his book
He still
somewhere.
has it. Well, back then though, $6 was an awful
No,
lot.
but we had moved from the apartment to
They did a good job.
on 7th Street.
It was a very inexpensive, it was carpeting, and we just had it bound.
9 years.
You come home at night and
Yeah, and
It's a lot less expensive than buying them.
Closer you
But then anyhow,
When you start realizing this,
that was on the price tag. So we told us about a guy that's gone out of business.
You forgot your camera.
What's the name of it?
There you go.
Hartville.
Oh, that was
Which was
sweet.
about
I haven't seen that since you're married. Since your wedding.
Really, I haven't either.
It's in Hartville. And these are she said he gets a kick out of all this stuff.
Right, and Thomas showed
These are the
me. Tom
these
showed me your house.
are the yardsticks we used to give out there.
No,
And then these are the ones that we had from the first hardware.
So that you don't have it,
Yeah.
black one on the ground.
I put it on the
So this is where we keep them now in our living room here in Coronado. And they're meaningful to me because they're the only reminders I have left of those 2 hardware stores I grew up in. I was born in 1945, right after the war ended, Second World War, and Dad had a hardware store going, and I lived on the 2nd floor in one of the 2 apartments with the family. I remember Dad had a whole lot of employees over the years, and lasting the longest was Bill Reno, confirmed bachelor, who had his name put on the yardsticks, which I didn't realize until I just took a look at them the other day when he followed Dad from Canton up to Hartville, where we had Lake VNS Hardware. And this is what the hardware store looked like back in the late 60s when we moved there. My very first job was to build a hitching post for the Mennonites to tie up their horses. It was on the side of the store there, and there was our house, of course, too. Not a good idea to live next door to a hardware store when you have plumbers and contractors and private citizens rapping on your door on Sunday evening looking for some piece of hardware that they'd like to buy. Dad, of course, couldn't turn them down and would always be there and go over and open up the store. And here's a couple more scenes of the store itself in the interior, the one in Hartville, and of course the big house that we bought right next to the store. I only lived there for days. I was a student at Kent and come down sometimes on weekends, work in the store and hang out there, but I skedaddled away from home as quickly as I could when I got into Kent State University. And one more note about Mom or Dad, they worked their butts off to make that store a success. He was about 55 years old in 1967 or so when he bought this store and moved everything from the Canton store. And I remember working there with him days and days and weeks where we would have 3, 4, maybe 5 customers a day come in for a bag of nails or something, and I just really lived in fear that the store wasn't going to succeed. And a few words now about that famous or infamous S roll-top oak desk that Dad had for years, and then I had it for years, and now it's in Tommy's dining room, I believe.
The desk was there. That was old Pete Bergen's desk.
What was he? Was he a hardware store owner before you?
No.
And I have it for the.
Where do you have that desk?
See, Pete Bergen.
Oh, in the other room?
See, Pete Bergen took over the hardware store. Somebody else opened it
Turn the key on.
when Pete
That has-
Bergen
that's
was
the
in
one that
business,
says-
in jewelry business up in
Right. The one that
Barberton.
says battery.
So he never had a hardware store.
He never had a hardware store until this guy went out of business.
Yeah.
Then Pete sold his jewelry store.
Well, was it the guy,
It's hard, Joey.
who bought the desk originally? Was it the guy
See,
who?
if one of those wires.
Well, I guess the guy that went in business originally had the desk. I don't know.
Yeah.
Now, is this the
That's
guy in the second building or the guy in the first?
In the second building.
They've got a little-
No, in the first building.
first
Pete
building.
Bergen, yeah, Pete Bergen's down there.
And a little lightheartedness to wrap this portion of the video up. And thank you, Gravis and Travis. And finally, I'm sorry to say, I don't believe there's a single solitary photograph that exists of the old hardware store on West Tusk. The oldest of us lived on the second floor. This is an aerial view I got from Google across from St. Joseph's Catholic Church, where the houses, the stores in the upper right-hand corner. And I wish if somebody had a picture of the inside of the store, even one, I'd love to have it, and I'd share it with everybody. And a few asides here. See the steeple there at St. Joseph's Church? Dad rang the bells there in 1945, not for my birth, but when the World War II ended. He was in civil defense, and behind the church is the school we went to. Carolyn, Mary Lou, and me. I was in the first grade in the lower right-hand, first floor on the right-hand side there, where Sister Mary Roberts forced me to go to the blackboard to write with my right hand since I was born left-handed. But it was a good memory. Lots of good memories with Mom and Dad. Lots of fun being raised in the hardware business. I loved you all. I'll come up with a second video soon and I'll send it to you on Facebook.